Hello everyone, it's Infinity Gamer here, and here it is, Aristeia from Corvus Belli. I've been keen to review this game for a while, ever since getting Beyond Wildfire and seeing the promotional material for Aristeia in that. I've wanted to get my hands on it and see if it's actually a really good game on its own right, or if it just kind of leeches off the whole Infinity Human Sphere environment to try and make extra money for Corvus Belli. And now, finally, I have my hands on it for an in-depth review. So what I've got here is the core box of Aristeia. I also have the Reckless Hearts expansion featuring Hippolyta and Axel Steel. I've also got the Legendary Bahadur's expansion set with Final Boss, Shono Carano, Kure Queen, and Oberon. Each expansion comes with the tactics cards in 4 different languages: French, German, English, and Spanish. So if you are looking to get those to expand your Aristeia collection, then you can just grab one set and it'll have languages for those in there. The core set, though, has everything you need in it to play with a friend and then have options for creating your own team to play against others when ready. So it's kind of a game within a game. If you played Final Fantasy X, you'll remember Blizball within that. It's closer to that in that it's like an actual sport within an actual world, as opposed to something like Games Workshop's Blood Bowl, which is kind of like its own separate world. It's a bit of a pastiche on other games. So Blood Bowl's a bit of a Mickey take of human sports put into a different world, whereas this is more like we're walking into Alita Battle Angel and managing a motorball team. So very different concepts here, and that's important to get out there from the start. The 2 teams take battle in an arena called the Hexadome. There are player leagues across the globe in the real actual Earth of people actually playing Aristeia against each other. They're putting their team in the Hexadome against another player, which is really quite cool. You can customize your playstyle, you can grab expansions to add diversity to your team as you grow, you can learn different styles. So it's very evolving. How I imagine this is my O12 Delta, finishes a day of patrolling and things like that. He goes home, sits on the sofa in his small apartment and turns on the TV to watch his favourite team battle it out in the Hexadome playing some Aristeia. So it's very much part of the culture of the human sphere, and that's, I think, one of the reasons why I like Aristeia, is that it's more than a board game. It kind of gives you an idea of the societal insight in the Infinity universe as well, giving you an additional way to immerse yourself in the human sphere, really. So there are Aristos, those are the players in your team, and some of those models are designed to be Apex competitors to add to the spectacle of the arena. But there are also human players who have proven their worth, or they've augmented themselves to the highest level. So these are very much Apex competitors in here. So you'll also notice that in some of these sets are models that you might be familiar with if you play Infinity. Wild Bill is in there, as is Hippolyta and Valkyrie, who are models in Infinity Armies too. There is a small opportunity for you to take some of those models and actually put them in an Infinity army if you want to. I think I was kind of concerned that Aristeia was going to basically be a half-baked effort to capitalize on a world with a strong fan base. Kind of like hey, we've got a really cool human sphere, everyone really likes it, it's got a nice story, it's got a big world, but what sport do they play? Okay, let's just throw in a board game that kind of represents that. But from the few games I've played, as a standalone game, this really has legs. It's pretty epic, it's very fulfilling. So even if you never actually play Infinity or dive deeper into the wider human sphere, Aristeia is a very enjoyable game in its own right, so don't feel like you have to know about the human sphere and Infinity to actually get enjoyment out of Aristeia. It's a fantastic game. Aristeia, in my opinion, shows that Corvus Belli deserve to be compared against the likes of Games Workshop for creating immersive worlds and addictive games. The mechanics of Aristeia are very good. As I've said, it's not like Blood Bowl, where they've basically just taken American football, gridiron, and kind of tried to turn it into something a bit different. This is its own sport, and it's its own game with its own cool mechanics. It's a 2-player only game, and with casual games taking maybe an hour plus 2 hours, it depends how casual you're playing and how fast you are, but it's definitely not like super long term. If you play X-Wing, Magic the Gathering even, Blood Bowl, and you need something new, this might actually be your jam. So what do you get when you buy Aristeia? So in the core box, you get a 2-sided arena board. You get these kind of play boards where cards go and models in the infirmary set, so those are kind of team control panels. You get all the tokens you could possibly need. You get 8 miniatures. You got Maximus, you got Hexa, you got 8-Ball, Parvati, Wild Bill, you got Gata, Miyamoto Musashi, Major Luna. So you get a good range of models here, all 8. You get the rulebook, you get a reference guide for quickly checking rules and effects during the game. There's a book on some of the history and fluff, which is great for, again, immersing yourself in that human sphere world, even if you then obviously don't care about that beyond Aristeia. There's tactic cards and initiative cards. There's also stat cards for each of the models that come in there. I mean, as mentioned before, this is 100% everything you need for 2 people to get started. The models even come pre-assembled, so you can get started as soon as you've kind of popped the tokens, and you don't even need to read the rules to get started. So how it kind of works is the rulebook comes with instructions on your first game, but you basically follow a step-by-step guide, including like, this is how you set them up, this is how you divide the cards, this is how you deploy your models. They even give you an orange and a green team to play with so that it's pretty balanced. So again, you just pop the tokens, get the models out, and you're basically good to go, which is a fantastic effort by Corvus Belli to make this as easy to get started with as possible. There are really low barriers to you actually getting onto Aristeia and getting your first game under your belt. So what is the game like to play? It is so addictive. It's easy to learn, but I imagine it's hard to master, so it keeps delivering layers as you understand more of it. The models, they're typical brilliant quality from Corvus Belli. These ones are plastic, whereas a lot of the Infinity models are actually metal. However, you can get some of the special edition or feature models for Aristeia, and some of those are metal. You've got your archetypal roles here, so Maximus is kind of your tank in your team. There are healer type roles, there's ranged attack roles, there's ones that kind of manipulate the other team's stuff a little bit better. In the core box, there is a recommended green team and orange team, as I've mentioned, so you can experience a balanced game for your first one. Obviously, the idea for this is, as you get more advanced into it, is that you'll buy some of the expansion packs, you'll tailor your team and your play style a bit more, but you've got everything you need to just understand the mechanics and start to understand how the teams are supposed to interact. It's the fact that you've got that walkthrough with the Aristeia rulebook is a really great feature, as it does make it really easy to get started. I played the first round not even using the tactics cards very much, which come with it. I just used the Aristo's abilities, and that was great fun. So again, first couple of games, some of the more basic stuff is going to please and appeal to you, but then you've got the tactics as you get more advanced, and you can deploy those strategically, and then you can add expansion packs as you want. So in terms of the lifespan of this game, you can very much go from very basics to super advanced play, and you don't have to spend a fortune. You know, 1 or 2 expansion packs are probably going to sort you for you to have a pretty developed team, and then it's just playing against opponents and playing different missions. So what Aristeia actually reminded me of was a bit of a hybrid between Magic the Gathering and chess, a little bit. The tactics cards enable you to affect other people's play, boost your own players, manipulate some of the dice rolls potentially, but then of course you've got the miniatures actually on the board, moving them around, trying to put them behind line of sight blocking stuff, trying to get them to take over objectives. So yeah, and each one has its own role, so one will be a bit more forward, one will be a bit further back. So yeah, really great gameplay actually. Should you buy Aristeia? Yes, absolutely. The core set comes with everything you need for you and a buddy to get into the game, and you can simply build from there. The expansion sets means that you can evolve your team playstyle and grow your team as you learn more about the game. And Corvus Belli are actually still releasing stuff for Aristeia. Sometimes it's recasts of an older model. So the expansions aren't the only way for you to add to your team. If you're concerned that the only way you're going to be able to grow your team is to buy an expansion set that's got 2 or 4 models and you're only going to want one of those, don't worry, because Corvus Belli generally break down those packs a little bit. You definitely don't need any experience in Infinity to enjoy this game. So this game is perfect if you want to try and get maybe a younger player into models, miniature warfare, in kind of a fun way. Aristeia, a fantastic standalone game if you just want to put some miniatures onto a board and play against a friend, family member, or something like that. Are there any criticisms I've got about Aristeia so far? There are a lot of tokens. I can't help but feel that maybe there aren't quite the need for so many. I know that doesn't make or break a game, it just sometimes makes unpacking, setting up, and packing back down a little bit more of a pain, but it's not a big issue here with Aristeia. Some of the models came a little bit bent, so the staff on one of them, but I just straightened that out with a hairdryer and that was fine. I like the fact that they come pre-assembled because that's one less thing for me to faff around doing, and it means I can get straight to painting them. And the only real criticism I have about Aristeia is very similar to a criticism I've got about Infinity actually. It's just that it's not more widely played. So you go down to your friendly local gaming store and you ask about Infinity, you ask about Aristeia, and they're like, oh yeah, I kind of heard of it, but there isn't a big player base and stuff. And it's like, I feel like every FLG should really have a game of Aristeia there for people to play, because it's relatively quick to learn, it's not super complex, it's good for younger players to maybe grasp different environments, different gaming mechanics. Aristeia for me is an absolute solid game. I love it. I've played a couple of games already and I just cannot wait to play more. I've already primed up the models, as you can see, ready to get them painted, ready to get my team colours on them, ready to start to develop my own team, get my own playstyle together. This is going to be an absolute staple game for me. Aristeia is a hard recommend from my perspective. Do you play Aristeia? Do you enjoy it? What are your favourite models? Put them in the comments, let everyone learn a little bit about how you play Aristeia, and let me know if you end up buying it and what you think of Aristeia as a game itself. As always, subscribe if you want to see regular updates, and I look forward to seeing you soon.